Let's talk about it. Qualifying for Kona. A lot of triathletes, it's the bucket list race out there in the Ironman world. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can do it. I've qualified for Kona 3 times. I've coached multiple athletes to the Big Island, and this is how you can approach it. It starts with a trajectory shift, not thinking about just one qualifying race. It's the big goal, 2-year, 3-year plan, and working backwards. It's got to fit your life. Let's be realistic. It's got to fit in with your family, and you need a full support. It's the training philosophy, the mindset, the equipment, the recovery, the nutrition, the fueling, but then putting it all together and being able to apply it. So I'm going to show you in this video the key areas where I think you really need and what's happening in the real world. So listen up, and thanks for tuning in. With some structure, looking at recovery, nutrition, and the psychology element, it doesn't feel so far away. I promise you, you just have to start to think big. My number one point is set a goal that's so ridiculous at first. So you have to be fearful. Now, if you're a beginner listening to this, it might seem miles away. That's fine, because it actually takes years. I know when I first qualified in 2009, it happened fairly quickly on my second attempt. These days, it's harder. There's more competition, I know that, and times are getting quicker. Set yourself the goal, write it down, tell one person in your network, whether it's your partner or a friend. Verbalizing something like that is huge. That's what Dan did. Beginner triathlete with a few Ironmans under his belt. He's now a 4.5 hour, 70.3 triathlete. So we're closing the gap on qualification. And it's exactly what we did in this process I'm going to outline now. And that's just one specific example. Number 2, reverse engineer the qualification window. Now, there's been a couple of rule changes of late in July 2025, but fundamentally, qualification process is pretty much straightforward. You've got to perform a high level in your age group. You either win it or there's a percentage multiplied as a winning time in the last 5 years. That aside, you might be a 12.5 hour athlete right now. So the gap to 9:30, for example, if you've looked at your age group, and 35 to 39 or 40 to 44, yes, that potentially is a 3-hour improvement. Just having some structure, not even a coach, will decrease that time straight away. Trust me, I've seen it happen. Then a coach can accelerate that, someone that understands you, how much time you can allocate to training, then touching on all the pieces that's building up into that picture. So it's the fueling, nutrition to support your health and wellness, and of course the recovery, which is where we get the gains. And once we know what needs to be improved, generally speaking, it's the big portion, the bike, which is the longest time you're out in the race course. We then start dissecting that part of the training and see where the biggest, quickest gains can come from. It's quite quick to get good gains on the bike if you know your physiology. The run takes some time, and the swim is so technical, especially if you don't come from a swim background. As you probably know, most triathletes just have a weak swim. But luckily, it's only an hour and a quarter of a 9 to 10 hour race. Number 3, periodize your year, not just the next 12 weeks. So you're not just training for your next race with blinkers on. It's about an 18-month, potentially even 24-month, big trajectory. Nice linear, sometimes plateaued approach, and then another kick up. So when we break it down, it's your off-season ceiling work, you can call it, whether it's your VO2 max, your threshold, or often with most triathletes I see in the lab testing, it's actually their low end, their fat utilization, their VT1, their LT1. It's just not strong enough. Your aerobic engine is not good enough. And then there's the foundation, so that's your ceiling phase. Then there's general foundation phase, where we build very good aerobic strength, which then leads into your race specificity, which could be then your race distance, of course, your craft, time trialing, undulating hilly runs, etc., long endurance blocks in the water with strength. But there's heat training role evolving around that, and there's actual real intra-training fueling that you really need to try out, plus the hydration that goes with it. Now, that is a key element, especially for the Big Island, as you well know. You go into humidity with a wet bulb concept where there's no evaporation and cooling, and then you've got a high carbohydrate burn with the demands of the event because of the heat. these factors need to be taken into consideration. And then a taper that actually works. So you arrive fresh and fit, not fatigued and just overworked. Most people arrive in Kona overcooked. It's the professionals that pull back a little bit earlier, don't race as much early in the season, that generally perform much better. Just look at the race results, go look at the top guys and girls that have raced less through the year. They generally perform a little bit better. So in summary, it's not just a 12-week approach, maybe a 16-week Ironman approach. It's about periodizing your whole year and thinking about that big goal and then working backwards, but knowing that it's not going to just happen in 1 year. Number 4, matching training to your life. This is crucial, guys and girls. If you're trying to train 15 hours a week, balance a bit of a 9 to 5, and then you've got 3 kids, you'll more than likely break. Something has to give. Now, yes, there's plenty of people doing 20 hours a week, getting up at 4:30 in the morning and being a lovely partner to their husband or wife, and also maintaining that house balance, and being a good parent. It's just, are you really present? I know I've been there just kind of trying to flog those hours. Yes, with Ironman training, more is better because it's a volume sport. We've got to just lay down those foundations. There's plenty of guys that have qualified on 8 to 12 hours a week, me being one of them, but people we've coached. It's just about that consistent sort of month in, month out grind, because as an average over a year, remember you're looking at training hours over a year. So those people have taken 18 months, but they're doing maybe 10 hours, some weeks 8, some weeks 12. And that's what builds. So it's smart specificity that really works. So training, it's that hard interval work. Yes, a long ride is 5 hours immediately. So that kills half your week's quota. We know that. And sometimes people just want to go out and train long hours. There's nothing beats a long, warm run or ride in conditions like this. But it's about those weeks that you forget about and potentially just go, I'll just do an easy week. And you end up doing 3 hours because you're just fatigued from the 15, 16 hour week before. And that yo-yo effect, the body doesn't really like that. You can watch your HRV as well. You'll see that just slowly degrading. You're not adapting to the actual training. We look at that. Now, if you're a beginner and you're watching this, you might think, I don't really need a full-blown coach for that. And I actually advocate you probably just need a plan. So we've formulated that exact thing, a 20-week plan for beginners for an Ironman and a 70.3, just to kickstart you into that structure with, a certain amount of hours, 6, 7, 8, building to sort of 12, maybe a peak week of 14 to 16, but very short period. And that just gives you some foundation and teaches you how to actually use heart rates and power, almost like your preliminary before you get a coach to go, right, I'm actually going to do this full blown. So that's in our description below if you're interested. And that's the most important thing that I've learned is I've always tried to, rightly or wrongly, make sure that the program's number one priority, but actually it doesn't really fit in and something gives, normally food, I'm not eating enough, or I'm sort of not quite seeing my friends enough. And that's quite important, the social element to it. So try not to forget that. And of course, if you are single, it's easier. If you have a partner, it's a little bit more trickier. Yes, they might be in the sport as well, and yes, they probably understand it as well. But I've seen lots of bad endings with that. Okay, so that's quite a key little area. Number 5, fueling, lab testing, and recovery are non-negotiable. You're not going to get to Kona on caffeine, gels, and guesswork. Some people might, but let's face it, it's a structured approach with a plan. Off-season and pre-season lab testing to just get your proper defined zones, not just your 7 zones from Training Peaks, which, don't get me wrong, is a great start and we've used for years before with great success. A proper carb and sodium strategy. Now there's proper good scientific application of evidence-based. For example, all the athlete support you get from Precision Fuel and Hydration, sodium testing that I do with my athletes, but there's lots of test centers around the world where they are watching this. And then understanding how they interact. Not everyone needs loads of sodium. We all agree on that. Some people do, but we know salt and sugar works really well in the body for delivery of carbohydrates. This needs to be tested. A proper S&C plan, whether you're 25 or 40, even 50-year-olds, which I deal with most of my age category now, are moving out of their 40s into 50s, have been with me for 5-10 years. To stay uninjured, it's about mobility for majority, 80% of the athletes. If you're hypermobile, mobility is not an issue. But strength training, guys and girls, certainly if you're female, entering perimenopause, into menopause, you're skipping a whole section and just leaving it out in the open on the table. If you really nail that, you'll just be so durable at the back end of the run. You've heard me speak about this on other videos. If not, go find the strength training for athletes, how to build your own Ironman plan, how to build your own 70.3 plan. It's all there. I've just given it out for you to listen and absorb, blow by blow, minute by minute, but just an overall overview, which most people like you have really found useful, because I've been getting the comments and the feedback. So that's great, because the more I get that back, then I know I'm actually hitting the money. And without a proper recovery plan, no training plan that I give you or someone else gives you is going to work. So that recovery needs to be understood around your life and your job, or maybe you just have loads of extra time at the moment, so then that takes the stress away. But this meal prep that goes with it, this food, is not just grab takeouts. You only have to watch Lionel Sanders, how he ended up just going down a really bad rabbit hole with not really paying attention, and just sugar, insulin responses, pre-diabetic, probably eating just quite a lot of high processed carbohydrates. You really need to pay attention to this, because this is a long-term project with your health in mind for when you're 50, 60 and 70, not just like, let's go for the Olympic gold right now. So that is the underpinning foundation. If you get this right, this last point of testing a plan, strength side, that's going to get you on the way to that dream spot, the ultimate Hawaii Ironman World Championship. Might not be this year, probably next or the year off. So there you have it. If Kona is a dream, it's not just a fantasy, it's doable with the right plan and with the right structure and the right team behind you. So instead of downloading plans, clicking all over the internet and guesswork, get action today. Think about it, get in touch, click on the link below if you really want to chat about maybe just being you, and see you soon.